just wrote acute angled isosceles triangle, you will get 2 marks, but that will be 2 out of possibly 4 or 5. All right. If there are angles that you haven't calculated, angles that they haven't given you, you do have to show that you are calculating those angles and you have to give your reasons. So for this one, they gave us a 50-degree angle. And guys, do we agree that they are telling us that it's an isosceles triangle? Definitely. We can see that absolutely right from the start, right? Because we have 2 angles that are equal and one that is, sorry, 2 sides that are equal and one side that is not equal to the other 2. All right. So definitely isosceles triangle. You can write isosceles triangle straight away. You'll get full marks for that part. But now when you have to say whether it's acute angled or obtuse angled or right angled, you do have to calculate those 2 angles. Now, this is a bit difficult, a bit more difficult than the ones that we did yesterday because they only have given us 1 angle of the 3. But what do we know, guys? Remember yesterday we spoke about isosceles triangles and the fact that the angles opposite the equal sides have to be equal. Yes, right? Yep, you can't do this classification if you don't have those angles. So you have to calculate them. Yes. Yeah, so I'm saying if you just wrote this, you're only going to get 2 marks. And if you just wrote isosceles triangle, you're just going to get 1. You have to calculate the angles. I've said that before. Okay, so this calculation is a bit more difficult. And sorry that we didn't do an example like this. I didn't actually realize that this came up in this exercise already. Do we agree that if this angle is 50 degrees, the other 2 angles in the triangle must be 130? Right, the two other angles together must be 130. All right, because we know that the 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. So that's what I calculated there. I said angle A plus angle B, those 2 angles together, we don't know what they are separately just yet, but those 2 angles together should be 180 minus 50, should be 130 degrees. It's fine if you just write 130. You don't actually have to say 180 minus 50. You can just see, okay, that's 50. So the other 2 must be 130 together. Let me just quickly get through the explanation. The reason for that, guys, how do I know that those 2 angles must be 130? Because the 3 angles must be 180. So that reason is angle sum and triangle. Then, how do I know what those 2 angles are separately? Are we all okay with the fact that they're equal to each other? Right, that makes sense, right? Because it's an isosceles triangle. So if these 2 angles together is 130 degrees or are 130 degrees, the 2 of them together, then I can just take 130 and divide that by 2, right? Because they're supposed to be equal. So 130, the sum of the 2 angles together. And if I halve that, I divide that by 2, that will give me the size of those 2 angles. The reason for that is, remember we learned this yesterday, angles opposite equal sides. You have to have both reasons. If you don't have both reasons, you're going to lose them all. Okay, so make sure that you add that, please, guys. Now that you have a 50 and a 65 and a 65, now you can see for certain that these are 3 acute angles. So it's an acute angled isosceles triangle. Thank you.
So just for the next one, angle
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll pick that now. Okay, are we fine with that one, guys? The calculations are a bit difficult, so sorry about that. What you can also do is you can do, I suppose, yeah, you could have just shown that calculation. You could have just shown the 130 divided by 2, and then you could have put both of these reasons next to it if you wanted to. But yeah, you have to have both reasons. That's very important. You have to have the 130 degrees somewhere, and you have to show that you're dividing it by 2. And you have to have both reasons. Okay, we are going to do more practice in this stuff, guys. So if you didn't get this right now this time, don't stress. You are going to have a chance to fix your mistakes when we do it again. Okay, 1C was not as bad. You did have to calculate that angle there, but because you already had 2 of the 3 angles, it was quite simple. Remember, we did go over this yesterday, but if they put that little square in an angle, it's saying that it's 90 degrees. So if you did redraw these triangles, you didn't have to, but if you did, maybe you can just make a note there that that square symbol means 90 degrees. So to get that angle over there, you had to say 180 minus 90 minus 45. And then the answer was 45 degrees. Reason, please, angle, sum, and triangle. Very important. So if we have two equal angles, do we agree that it's isosceles? And then we have one right angle, so it's a right angled isosceles triangle. Let me just fix this GHI quickly. So it's triangle GHI, not ABC like I wrote. Okay, any questions on C? Right, then when we get to D, similar to the top one, they've given us two of the three angles. You have to calculate the third one by saying 180 minus 105 minus 26. You have your reason, angle, sum, and triangle. Guys, oh, that's not what I want to do. Like I said, every single time you use this, you do a 180 minus, you have to write angle, sum, and triangle. Even if you've written it 6 times already. Okay, you have to write it every single time, please. So now, if we look at the angles, we have 3 angles that are different. So that's definitely scalene. Are we fine with that? And then this angle over here is an obtuse angle, 105. That angle is obtuse. And we know that if we have one obtuse angle, we call it an obtuse angled triangle. Yep. Yeah, you can't have more than one because then you can't ever have more than one obtuse angle in a triangle because then they'll add up to more than 180 already. The two obtuse angles. Yeah. No, because then it's for the same reason. If you have an obtuse angle, say 105, and you have a 90, you add those two together, it's already 195, which is bigger than 180. So that can't happen in a triangle. So. Right, let's take a look at E. Now E was similar to the previous one. I think you could have just kind of done this also by inspection. If you saw that that's a 60-degree angle and oh, I have two sides that are equal. Remember we did this calculation yesterday, right? That if you have 60-degree angle, if you have all three 60-degree angles, then it's an equilateral triangle. So the calculation that you have to show, unfortunately, is quite long. All right. In geometry, we always say that they almost penalize you for being clever, in a sense, right? You can't just look at a triangle and figure it out in your head and then write the answer down and get full marks. Okay, in geometry, you absolutely have to show every single calculation, every single step, every single reason. Okay, so it is probably going to take some time for you guys to get used to that, just because you haven't really done work like this before. But that is what happens, guys. Even in matric finals, you have to show all your steps. Yes, Jada? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we do it like that. Then it's in one step. Yes. Over 2. Yes, yeah, you can do that definitely. So guys, both of you are kind of asking the same question. Instead of doing 2 separate steps to get to an answer of 60 degrees here, you could have said, let me do it in blue here underneath. You could have said angle N is equal to angle O is equal to 180 minus 60. Right, so I'm just going to go over the steps quickly again. We have that one angle is 60 degrees, so the other 2 angles together must be 120. Right, does that make sense? Because the 3 angles, all 3 of them together must add up to 180. So if one angle is 60, the other 2 angles has to be 180 minus 60 together. But then because these 2 angles are equal, again, because they're telling us, right, that those 2 sides are equal, then to get the actual angles, you can just divide that 120 by 2. Okay, so you absolutely can do that in one step if you want to. Then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to put the 2 reasons next to each other in brackets here. So you can do it like that. Okay, so it's fine if you want to do the calculation in one step, but then you do have to show both of those reasons. So, and guys, remember yesterday we said that if it's equilateral, you don't still have to say acute angled as well. You can just say equilateral. That's fine. You'll get full marks for that. Sorry, G is there underneath. You can look at G. Again, an easier one. You just had to calculate that third angle doing 180 minus 90 minus 53, angle sine triangle. And then you see that you have one right angle triangle. So it's, sorry, one right angle. So it's a right angle triangle. But then also you have three angles that are different. So it's also scaling. I'm just going to highlight all of these reasons quickly. All right, the last one that you had to do was H, is that correct? H, the last one. All right, so for H, again, they actually only gave you one angle for H, so this was an interesting one. But we know they're telling us that these two sides are equal, right? So if that angle is 80, then this angle is also going to be 80. This is similar to the example that we did yesterday, the first one that we wrote down. Okay, because it's an isosceles triangle, those two sides are equal. The angles opposite those sides will also be equal. So U is 80, that means that angle V is also going to be 80. The reason for that is angles opposite equal sides, right? The angles that are opposite the equal sides are also equal to each other. And then once you have that these two angles are both 80 degrees, you can say 180 minus 80 is 20 degrees. Right, that will give you your third angle in the triangle, which again, you do have to calculate in order to do your full classification. So you have three acute angles. Two of them are equal, so it is an acute angled isosceles triangle. Let me know if you guys have any questions on any of these ones that we just marked. I'm just going to say again, some of these were quite difficult, so don't stress if you were struggling. We are going to still do geometry for a few days. And some more rules, and we're going to practice a bit more. So hopefully by the end of it all, you should be okay. All right, I'm just going to give you guys a minute or so just to make sure that you have copied all of that down. If you are done, you can write the next heading so long, exterior angles of a triangle. Exterior angles of a triangle. Are you all done there, guys? Yes. Okay. All right, so that is the heading, and then you can just write that little bit there. I'll show you now on some pictures what I mean by that little paragraph. This is the last triangle rule that we're going to learn. Then we're going to learn some rules about just lines, okay, not necessarily in triangles. I'm just going to move it up a little bit so that you can see that full first picture. So guys, I'm actually just in terms of spacing, I'm going to draw 3 different triangles next to each other and then write something underneath each one. But you can also do a triangle and write something next to it if you want to. Your layout doesn't have to be the same as one. Yes. Right, guys, are you done copying on that first triangle? Most people are. Okay, I'm just going to read through that sentence. That sentence is not giving the rule just yet. It's just actually explaining what an exterior angle is. Because a lot of people know the rules for exterior angles, but they don't actually know how to find an exterior angle. Okay, so you need to understand this. Guys, we're not even going to ask you for like a definition in a test or exam. I don't think we're going to say in a test, what is an exterior angle of a triangle? Okay, you won't have to answer that kind of question, but you obviously need to be able to identify it on a diagram. So it is the angle on the outside of a triangle. Obviously, exterior is outside, right? So an exterior angle is an angle or the angle on the outside of a triangle that is formed when a side is lengthened. So that is very important. I don't know if you're on your phone there, but can you know what is it? Calculator. Looks a bit fishy behind the pencil bag there. All right, guys, so are we looking at this first triangle? Do we see that BC is definitely a side of that triangle, right? We have 3 sides. Yes, a triangle always has 3 sides. AB, BC, and AC in this case. But now they've lengthened BC. So guys, this has to be a straight line here. Okay, and now this angle on the outside of the triangle, that one there, that is the exterior angle. So please make a dot there. All right, that angle is one of the exterior angles, the only one that we can see on that diagram, the exterior angle of triangle ABC. Now, guys, we are going to name this triangle. We can't just call it, we're going to name this angle, right? This blue angle now. I cannot, unfortunately, just call this angle C, because now we actually have multiple angles at point C, right? In the work that we did before, if I just go back to this triangle here, we have one angle at angle A, so I can call that A. There's no confusion, right? If I say angle A, we all know what angle I'm talking about. If I say angle C here, we all know what angle I'm talking about. If I'm looking at this triangle now, and if I now say angle C, oh, am I talking about that one or that one? Right? So now we unfortunately can't just say angle C. Now you're going to have to look at the sides that form that angle. So please use a highlighter or something if you have. Just highlight the 2 lines that actually form that angle, that exterior angle. So we are highlighting AC and CD. I'm going to write that underneath. AC and CD form the exterior angle. The angle is at point C. You won't have to write that down every time you use it. Okay, we're just writing all the information down as our note. Therefore, guys, when we're naming this angle, we are going to call this angle ACD. Okay, so you highlight the lines that form that angle. If I was talking about the inner one, which lines form this angle? AC and BC. All right, so then I would highlight those ones. We're talking about the exterior angle. So I'm highlighting these two lines where those two lines meet that angle is. Okay, so AC and CD. Now we're going to call this angle ACD. The point where the angle is always in the middle. Okay, so therefore ACD is the exterior, and now we're just going to use our abbreviation EXT. You are allowed to use that in your reason as well, is the exterior angle. I'm just going to make a note here. C is where the angle is. So that point where the angle actually is, that letter must always be in the middle with that copy over. Yep. So guys, I can't say CAD, right? There is no such thing. CAD, do you see that? There's no angle formed at C, or sorry, at A, sorry, there's no angle formed at A by AC and AD. All right, so you have to always put this letter, the point, where the angle actually is. That must be in the middle with the copy over. Okay, we're going to look at two more diagrams quickly. That is the next one. So now, like I said, if you don't have space next to your triangle, you can just do it underneath. It's fine. Again, we have triangle ABC. Do we now see that line or side AB? You guys need to pay attention, hey? I don't know what you're busy with there, but it's not this. Side AB has been lengthened to point E. Right, do we see that? So now the exterior angle is, let me just, oh, it wasn't frozen. The exterior angle is now this angle over here. Okay, so the angle where that side has been lengthened on the outside of the triangle, that is the exterior angle. Which two lines form this angle now? AE and AC. Okay, so let's highlight those two, AE and AC. All right, there we go. So guys, at which point is that angle actually? At point A. So now the A has to be in the middle. All right, these two letters have to be on either side. Okay, so now we're going to say here, you can now actually decide, it doesn't really matter what order, as long as the A is in the middle. So you can say CAE, like that. You can say CAE, or you can, if you want to, it's not alphabetical order, but it doesn't really matter. EAC, you can also call that angle. EAC. The important thing is that the A has to be in the middle with the copy on top, because A is where that angle is. All right, so let me just write here is the exterior angle. If you want to, you can add in brackets formed by AE and AC. Okay, any questions on that one, guys? We are going to work with this naming angles thing a lot moving forward. Okay, so we'll get a lot of practice in it. Are you all done? So that is the last one. And then we're actually going to start doing calculations with exterior angles. Okay, which side has now been lengthened to form an exterior angle? Well, FB, yes, but the side of the triangle is actually BC. Right. Now, guys, in the first triangle that we drew, BC was also lengthened, but it was the other side. You just look in your books quickly, right? BC was lengthened, but to that side, to the right-hand side. So if we're looking there, out to point D. All right, so that was the exterior angle. Now we have the same side that's lengthened, but it's to the other in the other direction. Okay, so now the exterior angle that we have here is at point B. So when we name that angle, the B must be in the middle with the copy on top. Okay, let's quickly highlight the lines that are forming that angle. It's AB and FB or DF. Right, that line is skewed and just fix that. There we go. So when we are naming this angle, like I said, the B has to be in the middle and the A and the F must be on either side. All right, so we can say angle ABF. If you're looking at it from that way, ABF. Or you can also call it FBA if you want to. So angle ABF or FBA. Important, the B must be in the middle. Is the exterior angle, and in this case, it is formed by AB and BF. Okay, do you guys think you will be able to identify and name exterior angles? Right, we've done 3 examples now. So if you are doing questions, we're also going to do more examples now. But if you're doing questions and you can't remember how to name the angles, please look back at the examples, please.
Example 1.
Everyone done here? Okay, just hang on for a second. Here we go.
Sorry, I didn't see.
All right, guys, now we're actually going to write down the rule for the exterior angle. This was all just identifying them and naming them. Okay, but the rule for an exterior angle in a triangle is the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the opposite interior angles. I'm just going to draw another triangle and then we're going to do actual calculations. So if you can please also copy down this triangle. Sorry, wait, let me change that value to Okay, so guys, you can get a question like this in a test or exam, and they can ask you to find the value of x. I don't want you to give the answer yet. But guys, if we're saying find the value of x, it might seem like this is an algebra question, right? Because now there's an x all of a sudden. But don't panic, it has nothing to do with algebra. They are just telling us that this angle is x. All right? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to find the size of this angle. That's what this question is actually saying. They're actually just saying calculate that angle. Okay, so they can do that, guys. They can put letters, variables in geometry questions, and they often do. All right? But you don't have to panic. It's not like a normal algebra question where you must now add and times and divide and work with exponents and all sorts of things. Okay, they're just telling us that this angle is x. We need to find the size of that angle. Now, guys, what this sentence up here is saying is basically what we're going to have to use to find x here. The exterior angle of a triangle. Do we agree that x is the exterior angle of this triangle? Right? Because line BC, side BC has been lengthened, and that is the angle on the outside. So we can just make a little note there. X here is the exterior angle. So that angle, the exterior angle, is equal to the sum. What is sum again? When you add stuff together, right? You get the sum. So put a plus underneath or above that word if you have space. The exterior angle is equal to the sum of the opposite interior angles. All right? So not the angle that's next to it. Do we agree that this is an interior angle? Interior is on the inside of the triangle, right? This is an interior angle, but guys, this one is not the opposite. This one is the angle that's just next to it. The other two angles are the opposite interior angles. So circle those ones, please. So the rule is saying that the exterior angle x is going to be 74 plus 24. Yep. Okay, the exterior angle is equal to the sum of, when we add them together, the opposite interior angle. And that's it. That's all you're going to do. All right. So we're going to write here, x is equal to, now you have to use x, guys, because they're asking you to find the value of x. All right, that angle's name is now x. Is equal to 74 plus 24. Of course, we have a reason for this. The reason is x, exterior like that, angle of triangle. Yeah, that's the reason that you're always going to write when you are working with an exterior angle. What is 74 plus 24? Then 98. Okay, any questions on that one? I want you to redraw that same diagram. We're going to put different values in. Okay, but you're again going to draw A, B, C, D, please. The exact same type of triangle. It can look exactly the same. I'm going to put different values in. So if you're done copying that down, you can draw the next one so long. Yeah. Okay, that is the next one. Okay, guys, now we need to find the value of y. And the reason. Okay, again, there is now a variable, but this is not an algebra question. We just need to find the size of that angle. So they just as well could have said, find angle B. All right, that could have been a different question. Find, well, the same question, just a different way of writing it. Find the value of y, find this angle. Now, guys, is y an exterior angle? No. What is the exterior angle? 105. This is the exterior angle. Remember, exterior angle is side BC has been lengthened. What do we know? The exterior angle 105 is supposed to be these two angles added together. So if I need to find one of these two angles, what am I going to have to do? What do you think? Yes? Tyler? Yes, thank you. We're going to take the exterior angle, the 105, and minus the interior angle that we have. It's like when we were looking for an angle in a triangle, right? We said 180 minus the other two. Now we're looking for this angle. We're going to say exterior angle minus the interior angle that we have. Okay, good. So we're going to say y is equal to 105 degrees minus 35 degrees. The reason is exactly the same, guys. Even though you are not calculating an exterior angle, you are using that rule. You are using the fact that the exterior angle is equal to those angles added together in order to calculate y. So you have to write the same reason. Yes? 70 degrees. I just want to check this book that I can give you to practice with me. I know I didn't ask you to bring your answer series, don't panic, it's fine. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to give you a selected few questions. Are we all done there? Any questions on that one or fine? All right. So this is now from the answer series. I will put the questions. I'm actually going to write questions down for you. Okay, but if you have to still finish it at home, then you will have to go to answer series on page. In my book, it's page 1.32. 1.32 is there on the board. Okay, I need to choose the ones that you will be able to do. All right, so I can't just say number 4 because there are some of them that you won't be able to do. So 4.1 you must do, 4.4. .5 is a tricky one, so see if you can do 4.5. I think you might be able to. And then 6.3. Okay, so it's not a lot. I'm gonna write them down quickly. I'm gonna actually draw the triangles for you. So 4.1. Okay, they want you to find the value of A in 4.1. Guys, always showing all your working, showing all your reasons. All right, you have to do it exactly like we did in class. Even if you think you can just quickly do it on the calculator, write the answer down, you have to show it properly, please. Right. Numbers that you're supposed to do are on the board. It's 4.3 here. I'm just right, so you can just fill stuff in on the actual page of the handout. Yeah. Okay, 4.1 is there. Let me just do 4.4 quickly. Hmm. 1.32. Okay, those are the first two that you have to do, guys. Yeah, so just look for these questions. It's the main heading is geometry of 2D shapes. So if you can find that heading, there should be number 4. Yeah. Oh, sorry, in 4.4, I forgot to write the letters. So this is A, B, C. There are no letters in 4.1, it's just a triangle, just like that. Okay, guys, if you're not done with 4.1 and 4.4, can you just take a picture of them quickly so I can show you the other two for people that are waiting? Okay, the next two, the last two questions, it's just these four are 4.5 and 6.3. So 4.5 is the one that I said is quite difficult. In 4.5, they want you to find the value of f, but that angle is actually f plus 20. All right, so you are going to have to calculate this angle, right, which is f plus 20, and then figure out if that whole angle is f plus 20, what is f? Okay, so it has an extra step. See if you can do that. But what you need to do first is use your triangle rules to get the whole angle. Then once you know what that angle f is, right, big F, this whole angle, then you must figure out what must the small f be if the whole angle is f plus 20. Okay, so even if you can't get to the value of f, I think you can at least get to this angle. All right, so see if you can calculate that angle, and then the last bit is just figuring out what must f then be. Okay, in the bottom one at 6.3, they ask you to calculate angles N and L. So they haven't used other letters for those angles. It's just those two angles that you must calculate. So guys, these questions don't actually have exterior angles in them. I first need to teach you something else before we can do more exterior angle practice, all right? But these are more questions like the ones that you have to do for homework. You just don't have to classify the triangles now, but you must do those calculations. Okay, please take a picture of that as well. There are only 2 minutes left, so you do need to go soon. That is due tomorrow, guys, but then remember, we're going to do algebra revision tomorrow as well. So we'll just mark this homework, and then we're going to go through your class tests tomorrow. Okay, the ones that I handed out yesterday. So please make sure that you bring those to class tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. You can pass up.